Good evening. This is Arlen with today's WordPress tips. So today I want to talk about WordPress security. And I'm here looking at a couple of web hosts because WordPress security really starts with the web host that you choose. I've been really happy with this company called NodeKey. It's kind of a new WordPress hosting company, but they offer optimized WordPress hosting. And that means they specialize in WordPress. So WordPress sites run really fast and their servers are fine-tuned to run WordPress. Okay, for a very limited time, they are offering some lifetime WordPress hosting. Pay once and never pay again. So if you come to this site really soon after this video is released, you can get a package like this, host one website for $129, and that's all you'll pay for hosting for life. Okay, NodeKey is in the process of reformatting their packages, and they're going down to a $5 a month hosting plan, but their $5 a month plan is really, really good. So I highly recommend NodeKey. If you are a larger business and you want something a little more robust, something a little bit faster, something a little bit simpler and easier to use for yourself or your clients, I recommend WP Engine. Their plans start at $30 a month, well, $29 a month, but they do a whole lot for you, including backups and firewalls and all kinds of other security features. So they've got a lot of security built right in, and you're going to pay a little premium for it, but it's worth it for business sites. Okay, so this is where WordPress security starts. Find a quality hosting company. In the next section of this video, we'll actually install WordPress and go through some security upgrades that you can choose to do when you install WordPress. Now I'm here on my control panel, my C panel, and I'm here because I want to show you that WordPress security starts from when you first install WordPress. So I'm going to go ahead and use the installer here to install WordPress, and I'm just going to go really quickly through it. You can use these cPanel applications to install WordPress. I'm going to put it here in my web directory. My cPanel here installing WordPress can do a special feature, and it's called automatic update. And I'm going to click this on and say create a backup and then update to any new version. Okay, that way I'm always up to date with WordPress security. So that sounds good to me. Okay, and here's some settings for my site. And the first thing I want to do to secure my website is I want to change this username. Okay, so I've changed it to my site admin. And let me just copy that. And an administrator password. Okay, I'm going to come up here. I've got this website called strongpasswordgenerator.com. And I'm going to just generate a password. Copy this password. And input this password into that box. Well, actually, I'm going to generate one that you can't see, put it in the box, and then I'm going to continue with setup. Okay, so I'll be right back after I do that. Okay, I want to talk about WordPress database security. Now, WordPress stores all of your content, your images, your text in a database. And the default database has a prefix of wp_. And that's not secure because that is, every WordPress website has that same setting. And so hackers know that, and they sometimes attack that database setting. Okay, so the recommended thing to do is to just change it. Change it to some other string, change it to a few other letters. You don't even need to have WP in there. So change it to something different and you'll be fine. Okay, this is recommended to set this up at the beginning when you're setting up your website, because once you already have a website, once you've had it running for a while, changing that database setting could break your website. So it's best that you do it at the beginning so there's no chance of it harming your website. Okay, so that's a great security tip. I've got a few more settings to help you secure your sites. Okay, I just showed you database security for WordPress. Now, my web host, NodeKey, they changed the database prefix for me, so I don't have to do anything. That's why choosing a quality host is the best option. Okay, if your web host doesn't change the database prefix, no problem. How would you know that? Well, you just have to open up your wp-config file. Now, I don't want to show you my file, so I'm going to show you the sample file. Okay, I'll just double click on it and it opens up in my code editor. The only difference between the sample and the real thing is the real file has my database username and password filled in, but the sample gives you sample data. Okay, and the way to know if your database table prefix has changed is it'll be right here. Okay, so instead of WP, you could change it to something else. Now, don't change it here once you've installed WordPress, because if you change it here, everything will break. Okay, so if your host hasn't changed the table prefix for you, we'll do it later with a plugin called Better WP Security. So that'll be in another video. What I want to show you now is two other features here in the wp-config file that will secure your website. The first one is this authentication unique keys and salts. What you need to do for that is just copy this website address all the way up to the word salt and paste that into your web browser. I've got it right here. It will fill in these special code secrets, and you just want to highlight that, copy it, pop over back to your code editor, highlight this section right here, and paste it in. And now you've got these secret code words which will help keep your website secure. Okay, the next thing we're going to do to secure our website is disable file editing. Now, WordPress gives you a file editor, but the file editor in WordPress, well, one, it's not very good, and the second thing is it's one of the easiest ways for a hacker to put code into your website. So we just want to disable that, so in case a hacker does get into your site, it makes it a little bit harder for them to deface the site or add their own malicious code. And the way we'll do that is we'll come back here to our web browser, and I've got this great article open here called Hardening WordPress, and that's at codex.wordpress.org/hardening WordPress. And this is a great article that talks about security. It addresses many of the issues we have already talked about and many other things that we will talk about. But I'm just going to come down here to this section here called Disable File Editing. And all I need to do is copy this little code snippet right here and pop back over to my code editor. And right down here, you'll see about line 82, it'll say, "That's all, stop editing, happy blogging," right? We'll just put in a couple spaces there, return spaces, and paste that code in there, and then save the file. Now we've disabled file editing and made your website just a little bit more secure. Okay, now that we've made some modifications to this wp-config file to make our site more secure, we can save it and close that. And now we want to protect this file as well as all of the other files within our website. So to do that, we're going to open this file called htaccess. And this is a great file that limits access to to individual files and folders within any website. It's almost magic. So sometimes we call this htaccess magic. Okay, and you can see we've got some WordPress code here. I'm just going to move my cursor below the end WordPress line. And I'm going to need some code to put in here to secure my wp-config file. And I can find that just by going over here back at the Hardening WordPress article. The code was actually right above Disable File Editing. So I can just copy that and pop back over to my code editor, paste it in, save it, and close this file. We'll do more with htaccess in another video. But for now, we have secured our htaccess file. Let me jump back over to my FTP editor. For me, that's Transmit. It's a very good FTP editor. And I want to show you file permissions. So if you highlight any file and bring up the information on that file, what you should see is that file has a value of 644. And that's the recommended file access code for all the files. Now, if you do this with a folder, you'll get a different value, and that one should be 755. Okay. Again, if you're on a high quality web host, these will all be set for you. If you've got something different, if you're on a bad web host, you're going to see 777. Now, that might sound like a lucky number, but that is a bad number for files. So you want your files to say 755. Okay. If you look at your information and you're seeing that the files are 777, that's probably a good sign that you don't want to be on that host. So that's it for securing our website. We've done a lot. We've put in a lot of security features, and now we're ready to look at some things we can do with plugins and other security measures. Okay, see you in the next video.